welcome back. I told you I would be back. No intro tonight because it's just a spur of the moment show. I wasn't planning on doing one, but I can't rest right now, so something spurred me to get up and do a show. So bear with me while we try to plow our way through this. I still got a few moments here to let people file in while notification gets out. Meanwhile, I'd like to thank the people that are here for taking a moment of your precious time to be a part of this precious family. Okay. So here we are. This is November 20th, 2024. Okay. Been a long day. So as you can see, there's your loop plan there. I'll let that play for a minute for those with eyes that see. Note your spire region at the very beginning of the loop. See how it's nice and bright? Then our event comes out of that area and a bunch of that spire region reduces now. So it takes a bunch of that plasma with it. Okay, so that event right there. Told you these things act like compass needles. They point at the inbound object, and then once it interacts with the sun and pulls away, it takes away that spire and it reduces a lot of that energy down. So you can see that this event right there took a lot of that mass, a lot of that plasma with it. And you can see over here in this spire region as well, on the black side, you can see these little arms breaching around the edge here. There's something about to pop out of that region right there as well. Actually, it does come out and you can see stuff streaking past it. Also, I want to point out something. There's plasma going over this bigger object here on this black and white side. It's going over it faster than it's moving out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed this up a little bit to capture that movement, the effect of the plasma going over this bigger object or multiple objects. It's kind of hard to tell on that one. But you can definitely see there's few objects there, and then there's plasma going over it faster than it's moving out. All right, let me slow that back down to regular speed. Okay, so there's your event that happened today. Okay, in this little spire region, also this one doing its job too. There's Marcia. Hola, señorita. Okay, let's get this on the first frame. All right, that's close enough. Let's scooch up to Marcia. And you can see this little black one right here already kind of leading the way. You can see plasma reaching out to it all the way here, the instrument reacting to it. Boom. It moves on out through the frame. You can see the teardrop tail effect, the spaghettification effect of it as it moves on. Its magnetic field kind of pulls away from the sun's. Something else going on up in here too. So when they're offset like this, sometimes they make different configurations, and it's hard to dissect it sometimes, but you can see some of them there. Okay, then we have this white streak coming out here, and a white streak going to grow on this side as something comes out of this region. Okay, you can see it right in there. It hung out there for a second. Now it's starting to pull away. Meanwhile, we got this event going on this side too. You see all these other little moons scooting through here, all these little smaller satellites. Let me back up there a little bit. You see all these little guys scooting through down here. Then out comes your bigger object starting to approach. You see the darker side, darker patch right here. Still got some plasma draped in front of it, but you can tell that there's something there. You can see it here on this black and white here. Keep going here. Then it appears maybe there was something else trailing, a little bit bigger that's trailing behind it here. That was some of the little moons out in front of this bigger thing, and it's kind of hiding in the back because the other stuff is taking up the instrument's reactivity. It's reacting to all these little moons while there's something bigger, medium size, not a bigger one, but something back in here. You can tell by the size of the teardrop shape, and then some trailing moons and satellites that went along with that one. So let's go ahead and put that back into motion. I'll let that play for a minute for you guys. And while we're letting that play, and there's more people in here, let me again thank you for taking a moment of your precious time to be a part of this precious family. This is something special that you are a part of here, okay? This isn't your average YouTube live stream, okay? That's why I got to do it at such late hours. All right. So there's your activity for the moment. We're going to be talking a lot about the weather tonight and this storm that's approaching, but I just want to get this stuff out of the way first really quick. There's your activity. You saw our little event right here. Okay, there's not much going into the next day. We could take a peek at it if you want, but X-flare potential 10%, M-flare 50, nothing called for geomagnetically in the next 3 days. I was expecting a little bit something today, and it wasn't too much, okay? Barely reached KP3, so whatever, came along with that object wasn't much, so that's good. Thankfully, we didn't have a big geomagnetic event, especially while we got this storm doing its bombogenesis, okay? Meanwhile, we got our one sunspot that's beta gamma, and it's stable, so we're not too concerned about that. There's the article from yesterday. Okay, so let's move on to really quick. I'll show you the Schumann. It was looking good a little while ago. Yeah, good. So you can see we had kind of a smooth day, good continuity, a little weakening right here, but it comes back and then weakens again right here. This little gap right there, right where you see that dark stripe right there, that's where our magnetic field got weak, and you probably got irritable or agitated or something in that time frame, or somebody around you did. And now we're going back to continuity with a little skip, a little screeching and skipping along a little tad bit here and there. So that's not too bad. That means you can see the pressure's just right at the very fringe where the core and the shell are, the barrier between them is very narrow. That gap is very thin. And even when the pressure is relieved, you can see it's still kind of skipping and catching. And, the sphere is probably not totally perfectly round. It's got little protrusions that stick out of it. And, just like a record has scratches and skips and crackles and pops. So there's this little, system here. So when it starts to get close to grinding, you can see it. It's almost like old brakes on your car that when you apply them, they grind. But then when you take your foot off the brakes, you still hear them going tick, 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 tink, tink, tick, every once in a while. So that's what's going on, it looks like right now. Otherwise, we had pretty good continuity, nothing too intense. So all in all, a pretty decent day. Let me come on over to, now let's start talking about the null school and the weather and everything, okay? So, I'm going to get right to it here. Let's get our ocean, sea surface temperature anomalies, go over to the wind, and then hit play, okay? And whoops, it was already playing. All right, so here's your sea surface temperature anomalies. This is volcanic activity on the ocean floor. All right, we get hot, warmer waters because of venting on the ocean floor, and now we're going into winter. We're starting to see cold water inundation in the Gulf of Alaska. Now, these two setups right here are stationary. When you look at our storm and how it lines up here, let me just put it in a good spot right there. All right, how it lines up with our water configurations here. this storm isn't going to act like a normal storm and move on shore. In fact, I've been watching latest models and stuff show it moving back out and recycling again. So this might be, until we have a change in water patterns, this could be a permanent setup. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you see what's showing up on the map right now and why it's causing this hurricane category 4 type huge bombogenesis storm way up there on the Pacific North coast? It's this screams volumes. This is way outside the norm, okay? Usually these storms aren't this big. We don't have hurricane type structures up that high, all right? It's usually a, a low that spins in and that whole storm moves across the west coast and across the country. But we're going to go through the weather models and stuff tonight. You're going to see this thing kind of goes back out and recycles and just kind of stays there. Well, it's staying there because of your water temperature setups. Do you see the correlation? Over warm water, you get warm air. Over colder water, you get cooler air. Warm air rises, cool air rushes in to replace it. It gets heated and lifts with more cool air coming in to replace it, creating vorticity. All right, let me take the winds off really quick here. Please. Okay, I want you to note these heat patterns that are going up the coast of British Columbia, all the way up this coast right here, all the way down, all the way through here, connecting up to our triangle structure that we had going on off the Pacific here. It's not bright yellow in intensity, but it is still warmer water compared to this cold water. Still warmer air compared to cooler air, causing that rotation there. So as we go back, put the winds back on there, you can see that's what's causing this stationary storm. It's going to just sit there and continue to produce wave after wave after wave into the Pacific Northwest. Also, you can see these features out here that have all taken control of the weather patterns, all right? There's a conveyor belt system that's growing over here, okay? It comes, all these heat structures got wind going across here, aiming right at the Philippines. All right, there's not a lot of cold water out here for vorticity, but it has been pumping out storm after storm after storm at the Philippines here. And what I want to show you is what just happened here. This is World of Signs channel. You should all be subscribed to this channel and be checking them out every day. Come over, give them a like I just did. All right, watch this little segment right here and what it says down below. Within 10 days, 4 typhoons hit the Philippines. Okay, before I was telling you a couple months ago about that kind of structure, that conveyor belt type structure that would just pump storm after storm after storm, and that we're lucky we dodged a bullet here in America with all the sandstorms that we have going on off the coast of Africa that kind of deaden these effects. But you can see here the Philippines got 4 in a row just like that. Just bam, 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 bam. And same with China. What was it, about a month ago or so? Report came out of China. They're on their 19th typhoon. So these areas are just getting devastated, storm after storm after storm. And these ones are caught up on this conveyor belt structure going through here. Okay. And it changes day to day. Something else opens up and then changes the pattern. But we dodged a bullet with the sandstorms and stuff. So let's back up a little bit. We're doing things a little different tonight. So just bear with me here because I wasn't really focusing on doing a show. I was trying to get some relief from pain. All right, here we go. And this is how I do it. All right, let me get this top little band out of there. Just a smidge. There we go. All right, camera doesn't like this color, but there's your intensity right there. It was blowing across the Atlantic, deadening the effects of our hurricane genesis in this area, okay? So now we have, it's kind of diminished. It's more hugging the coast of Africa, not so much in this area, but we don't have this Hurricane Genesis really going on in this area. It's been over in this region, over here, where we've seen it. And there's no sand over here to hamper those storms. So they've just been getting pummeled over and over and over again. China and the Philippines, this whole eastern side right here, has just been getting hammered with typhoons and all kinds of uh, cyclonic storms just over and over and over again. And let me just quickly show you, within 10 days, 4 typhoons. Okay, it is possible. It is happening. All right. What I'm not saying this could happen to America or anything, but imagine if we had a storm, 4 storms in a row. You can't, just after you try to recover from this one, whoops, you got to go back and take shelter because there's a second one. And then you come out from the second one to assess damage. Wait, go back in. There's a third one. Hide again. Most people are gone by that time. The third one just wiping stuff clean. Any kind of survivor is like, oh no, not a fourth one. Okay. So if you had days to prepare right before this first one's coming, you would need stuff for 10 days and expect storm after storm after storm, and you would have to take advantage of those gaps to get water, to get power or food, wood for heating or whatever. And this is not normal activity. Okay, this is all the side effects of our thermal anomalies. Okay, this is not good. It's well, it's part of the process, actually. All right, and I think a lot of you guys are understanding what's going on here. All right, so there's your conveyor belt structure. It's not really looking too bad right now over here at the moment. Right now, it has changed its focus to over here, hasn't it? Now, I want you to take a look at this structure. I'm just going to let it sit there. We have main vortex here, but you also see a stretching out effect. There's something right here that's pulling energy all the way down and letting it loop up like this. So we have this long comma-shaped arm. How many times have we looked at models, forecast models with these comma-shaped structure type monster storm looking structures like this? Over and over the plains, okay? And I was talking about we need to be aware of severe weather, also tornadoes. I know it sounds weird because we're in the Northwest up here, and this is a cold, rainy storm, but severe weather happens in this event too, and they did indeed have tornado warnings up in Washington. Now, a lot of these winds, you see the tight millibars, you see the thing spinning like a hurricane, all right, which it is. It's basically a Category 4 low depression, okay? So it has the same effects as a Category 4 hurricane, high winds, which have knocked out trees all throughout Washington. I'm sure all of you have seen the videos now, right? This is why a while back I was trying to tell people, get chainsaws, get gasoline. So if you're on a wooded lane and winds kick down the trees, you can still cut the trees out and get out of your, road. Put a winch on a truck so you can pull stuff out of the road so you can escape or, get back into town, whatever your things are. So here are your current conditions right now. Okay, this show is called Current Conditions because this is what's currently going on. All right, I'm a little well, let's just say I'm kind of determined to get it through to you guys that we're possibly going to be seeing similar effects that we saw from Hurricane Helene and South Carolina, and people getting trapped in river valleys, tight little communities that are along a riverbank, because this is going to cause flooding on historic levels. All right, and I'm just going to let this. We're current conditions right now. All right. Now they've already seen snow, heavy winds, high winds, power outages, and stuff like that. All right. This storm is not really moving. So imagine the 1, 2, 3, 4 effect coming from just this one storm. Okay. Like the 4 effect that we saw in Taiwan or in the Philippines there. But just from this one stationary storm licking moisture up and colliding it with cold air and causing severe weather in this region. So nighttime of the 20th, we go into the morning, tomorrow morning, noon, convection, nighttime. You see another low dropping in here. This one's just a smaller one off of the main one. See the main one up here shifting and going back out to sea. All right, it's not coming in like a regular storm. It's moving back out and it's creating another low right there, right where we're seeing temperature anomalies here. This little section right here where it's pulling it down, turning around that and coming back up is going to, come back here, is going to keep feeding stuff up that trough. That atmospheric river is going to turn into an atmospheric waterfall. Okay, that's a long duration storm. So we're going to go through this just really quick. Again, nighttime, current conditions of the 20th. Tomorrow morning, noontime, convection. All right, severe weather on the coast at convection right there. You might see water spouts making landfall or tornadoes in that region, possibly little spin up ones, nothing too bad, but severe weather means those possibilities. We're talking high winds, possible hail, power outages, coastal flooding, coastal erosion, flash flooding of little gullies and streams and stuff. Just water inundation into the ground is going to cause ground to give way. There are going to be mudslides and mud flows. You might see boulders breaking loose off the cliff faces and stuff like that is going to happen. Rivers overflowing their banks because this is a long duration, very severe, lots of moisture. So here we're at a 985 low at the nighttime of the 21st. It shifts north, 980 it drops, and you can see this huge severe patch right here. It's even severe out here in the ocean, but along the coast here, might slam in there. That will be the morning of the 22nd, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 23rd, noon. Oh, that was noon, sorry, of the 23rd. There's convection, nighttime, 24, noon, convection, nighttime. See how some of this flow is getting shoved south and not just Northern California down through this region is going to get a taste too. That's the nighttime of the 24th, morning of the 25th, noon, convection, nighttime. Do you see where our low is? It went up here, came back around. It's still off the coast, spinning, pulling moisture up into this region. There's morning of the 26th, noon, convection, nighttime. Now they show it dissipating, and that's finally by, well, let's go back to right there, around noontime the 26th. So 5 days from now is when all that whole thing, and that's if we have a shift in the pattern like that. But you can see that we have quite the flow going over that region for the next several days. Okay, and that's all gonna, you see how it just kind of sits there and stationary. See, they show this low kicking up here. Just let this play the rest of the way out. This is so far out in the future that, yeah, it's not showing much here because I have a feeling that might be hanging out there for quite a long time right there. Excuse me, especially if we have the same pattern. If we have a hot spot open up in here and change this whole flow, then it would push this thing on through. But Look at the shape of this heat signature. It's just the shape of the storm. See the curvature of it right here, and then when we put the winds back over it, you can tell that that's what's causing it. And everything that's in this stream right here is going to be getting fed, you know, all the moisture and stuff. Whoa. Crazy. If that was the eye and the nose and the mouth, well, those would be ram horns. Crazy. Alrighty, so there's that. What else were we gonna pull up here? Oh, yeah. So this effect right here, day after day after day, is just similar to getting hit by not typhoons, but you know, goes storm after storm after storm. So instead of 4 different storms, it's gonna be, you know, this 4-in-1 punch there. Actually, we're good there. That's what was bugging. McAfee, you're the only thing I need protection from. All right, so there's your thermals right there. Let's get an earthquake report in there. So yeah, I showed you the 4 storms in a row. And we're lucky that didn't happen coming off this conveyor belt. You know, it looked like for a minute we were going to get fed storm after storm after storm right through here. But luckily we have a new layout here. And you can see that hotter water up in this region has caused, you know, stuff to diminish in here. We have cold water getting into this Atlantic region now, and it's caused an oscillation going this way, pulling weather across the nation and then out into the Atlantic. So kind of drawing stuff into it. All right. You see that weather patterns have shifted. We had wind coming up through here before. Now it's coming in slicing south. It's actually pushing convection away down towards Mexico. So a total different wind pattern configuration on this side now due to openings and plumes and shifting of pressure and temperature anomalies. We still have this effect right here going on in the equator that has really just killed the La Nina that was in progress. It was well defined, and now it's kind of eroded away. We also have our tropical convergence zone should be here at the equator. It's shifted up 15 degrees latitude up to here. All right, so we've had a shift in our weather patterns. You can see how these hot, cold patches cause rotation down here at the southern hemisphere. Hot air rising, cold air rushing in. It's just, you can see these conveyor belt structures that form from heat plumes and stuff. Whoa, dude. See, right here, I wish we had that convergent zone set up when it does this. Anyways, let's take it away. Now, let's go into Java here. You can see hot water still coming off the coast right here. Let me take these ones off now. There we go. So you can see more hot water around this region, no cold water inundation. So the relief valve here is trying to do the best it can, but it's not enough. And now we're starting to see leakage along that plate. It looks like it's on that plate boundary or some kind of new vent on the ocean floor right there. Meanwhile, look up here around Sumatra, in between Sumatra and Malaysia. Now there's a new spot that opened up, going up in here. Look down in there. There's a spot going on out there. All this down in here. Sorry about the click pop thing. All right, let's even put the winds back on now. All right, so there's your wind patterns. Now what I want to do is take off. We covered that good enough. Well enough, I should say. We'll take it off. All right, let's try to do a quick volcano report here. We've had the volcano in Iceland, the fissure open up again. So 37 and 33 is still 70. All right, so 7 years ago when all this started happening to me, if I'd have told you back then, 7 years later, we'd have 70 volcanoes. You would have just laughed and said you're crazy. Well, here we are. 7 years later, 70 volcanoes going, and I am still crazy about you. And that's why we're doing a show tonight. All right. Bear with me here. Here we go. So, top news and volcano news. This whole fissure has opened up. When pressure down below rises to the top, the crust wants to expand outward. It's like overcooking an egg, overboiling an egg. The inside of the egg expands and pushes outward on the shell, and it cracks the shell from the inside out, making cracks. Well, a crack in the Earth's shell or crust would be a fissure. So we're seeing fissures, which are literally cracks in the crust of the shell, opening up, and magma, SO2, heat, energy coming out. And it not just a volcano in a vent in a round cone form, it also splits the land open, causing fissures where we have these huge fountains that pop up. Okay, several times we've seen this here in Iceland now. Pressure coming from down below, cracking the surface. That is a crack. That's a huge crack. It's not your big old mountain volcano that, has a big cone and stuff runs down the sides. You can see the land literally split open in a linear fashion, and all this lava came flowing out of it. Okay, that's a perfect image. It really, gives it gives a dimension to what we're talking about. When pressure down below, the sun reacts, the earth absorbs it. We get pressure down below, it makes its way to the surface, and any kind of weakness in the crust, a perforation, or a path of least resistance. Here we have the boundary, plate boundary runs right through here. So the plate boundary, so much pressure coming up at that weak spot, it creates a new crack along that area, and stuff comes flowing out. The new eruptive fissure and several lava flow tongues propagate east and west. Manam, Nevada del Ruiz. Okay, Svarensky in the Reykjanes Peninsula. The new eruption on the Reykjanes Peninsula can be viewed through these primary streaming links. Okay, we just looked at it. Thank you. Canlaon in the Philippines. Okay, 9,000 feet. Manam, 8,000 feet. Ibu, I be with you at 8,000 feet. Luatobi, 10,000 feet. Tucono, 8. Fuego, sporadic ash emissions. Here's Nevada del Ruiz at 22,000 feet. So we did have a little uptick in pressure because it sent a couple of these kind of high, and it made Reykjanes, or Svarensky, my bad. Either one, it's on Iceland here, go active. But that was just in the last few minutes. We haven't even talked about today, which is now yesterday, because, well, time flies at this channel. There is your map of insanity. Note the volcanoes going up this part of the plate boundary, the beginning part, right? We got 2 currently, and 2, 3, 4, 5 are semi-active, okay? All kinds of activity through Java, Sumatra, up through there. Here we have the Kamchatka Peninsula with Shiveluch, Kluchevskoy, Bizimani, Karaminsky, Adelaide, and Ebico. Okay. All of these. This map is just nuts, dude. 70 volcanoes. Sakurajima. Reventador. Sakurajima had a 7,000 foot blast. Manam, 8,000. Ibu, 8,000. Social Security receipts. Luatobi, 14,000. Ducono, 8,000. Popocatépetl, 21,000. Fuego, 15,000. And there's the list of that map. Do not get too desensitized to this list, because this is pure insanity. They would dare show this on the nightly news because, well, I don't think people would know what to do. It just keeps going. And that's just on land. Here are all your volcanoes underwater that are still on the crust, the surface of the crust, just covered with water is all. So take that list and double it, basically, because there's 2/3 underwater, and there's all your activity that's going on. Pressure from down below pushing upward on the underside of the crust, looking for any perforation, any weakness to get out of the ground, so it can do stuff like this. Where we go here, right there. Okay, perfect example of how this works. Okay, so we did that. We're gonna do some earthquaking too. Should we do some quaking really quick? Look at this. Look at this symbol here on the Google thing with the eye and the moon. See the other eye on the other side there? So there's two eyes, one eye in darkness, one light. Kind of like my moon over here on my avatar. It's almost like they're making fun of me. Here we go. U.S. earthquake map. I should have played their little video, huh? Awfully quiet in that chat. You guys still there? Oh, my chat disappeared. Brother manipulation, my friends, all part of the plan, and everything we didn't bring. Okay. Good. Okay. Chat is there. I just didn't see it. Back to the show. Okie dokie. So, a little bit of pressure. We had an uptick. We get deep quakes in this region first. There's a 5.5, but it's down at 227, so that's not our deep quake. Here's a 5.1 at 199. That's not very deep either. Okay, so this is all mainly subsurface and, activity, not right at the surface, but down there. Now, this little island leaking SO2, we didn't do an SO2 report, but you guys know. Relieves pressure going into this region. We have volcanoes. Finally, we have had a quake here on the plate boundary, a 5.3 here at the Solomon Islands at the surface here on plate boundary. So pressure from down below has made it to the surface at 5, just a little bit over 5 magnitude, 5.1, 5.1, 5.5. Okay, so you're seeing uptick in 5s. Deep region, 4.1 down at 148. That's definitely a volcanic feature. Very quiet along this region. We had a quake here yesterday off of Java, but so far very quiet through that area. Very quiet at your fulcrum points here as well. We come over to this region where we had our plate boundary quakes going on the other day up here by this structure. Now, out here in this little volcanic ridge is a 4.9. You know what we do with those here, especially when it's down at 281. Okay. So, little volcanic feature on the flank of these little volcanic ridge. See all these seamounts running in a row here. You can see there's little ones popping up here off to the side of this. Another one right there probably coming to life in that area. Okay. Pretty quiet through there today. Let's come on up. We had something inland here, a 5.4. Look at this, down at 407. A 5.1, my bad, down at 407. This is a little deeper here. This has got to be some kind of volcanic feature going along this little ridge right here. Where's the nearest one? Right here. Yeah, something going on in that region down deep. And again, 5.1. A lot of 5.1s today. Okay, we haven't had one on the Kamchatka in a minute here. So here's a 4.1 down at 62. This is on a volcanic feature as well. This whole string right here is all volcanic ridge line. Okay, so just off of this ridge, that would be the flank of the volcano, 62, 4.1. Nothing at the fulcrum in a long, long time. We'll get into America last. I think it covers all that region. Quick little Coco's Place, 4.3, 4.8. Right on the plate boundaries, you're leaving pressure. Magnitude check there. Fulcrum points, 4.2, 4.3. Okay, little bit of energy being released in there. Mid-range 4, that's not too bad. Okay, otherwise, really quiet around the rest of the region. Let's go take a peek over here. Iran had a 4.9, and you know what we do with those, especially at the surface. So 4.9 to 5, right along this region here. It doesn't look like it's on a plate boundary. Just gonna check because one time we had a earthquake right next to a facility, we'll say. I just want to make sure that there's no going on. Yeah, it looks like it's just a fault line right there. 5 in Iran probably rattled those guys a little bit, gave them a little wake-up call. All right, thank you for bearing with me. Also, way up here at the top of the world, we have a 5.7 on the plate boundary above Iceland. Okay, so we had a bunch of pressure come in, rip open Iceland. We got fissure with fountains of magma. We got 5.7 magnitude. You know, it was probably a little bit stronger than that. Way up here, this is like an oddball quake. It wouldn't be called a diverse quake because it's on a plate boundary. All right, but it's way up there at the top. So that is kind of an oddball, almost your diverse quake, but it's on the plate boundary. That's an indication that pressure is coming up along this plate boundary, rattling it there, shaking it at the surface there, opening up, unzipping stuff here. We might see some activity going along here in the future, unless this has done its job and relieved some of the pressure, which is also a side effect as well. All right, let's go all magnitudes into America. Sorry, folks, I was not planning on doing one. Okay. 2.4, 3.7, 3.0, 3.4. So a good little flurry of mid-range threes right here. Indication of pressure coming up in this region. Not much of the fulcrum point. Very quiet around this region. Something else I want to talk about here. When we get, where do we go? This one. Okay, we got these red regions that are growing off the coast here, right? And they're causing this cold water, hot water deviation line and our rotation, right? What we need is a quake in this area to relieve this pressure so more cold water could fill this in. The moment this area, let me back out a little bit. The moment this area right here goes cold, it will hinder that rotation. But for now, you see this hot water inundation going up into this region. We need some quake activity all along this area to relieve some of that pressure and that heat to diminish that storm. Capiche? Comprende? Catorce? Oh, I'm joking. All right, here we go. That's 14 anyways. 1.3, 9.4. These are microquakes at Mount Rainier. So not only are they getting slammed with a big old hurricane type storm, you're getting earthquake activity at volcanoes, which is an indication of pressure down below. You need a good quake along here. Nothing too big, mid-range 5, so it doesn't do a bunch of damage, but relieves some pressure in the area. Meanwhile, we got the geysers doing their thing, keeping magnitudes down to like 2.4 in that region. Very quiet through all of here, all through the Sierras. Little tiny speckled ones down here, but they're 1.1s and smaller. Okay, so coming over to the middle part of the country, man-made perforations in the crust, relief pressure at magnitude 2.1 here in Mexico, New Mexico. All right, see that little flurry right there? Even though it doesn't look like much, that relieved a bunch of pressure right there. Biggest one being 3.4, okay, and then a bunch of mid-range 1s and 2s. So relieving pressure in that area, you see them kind of stretching out. You can see these little perforations. When the one spot's venting and it can't do enough, the other ones start to pop off too. Okay, 2 in Texas. Please, one more frame back, Lord. There we go. More in Texas. Up here in Oklahoma, nothing at your New Madrid, nothing. Oh, there is something up here in the Creighton. A 2.3 up here in Amudis, Connecticut. Not much of any kind of feature popping out at all. This would be your little diverse quake right here. It's not much, 2.3, but up here in Connecticut, we don't see a lot of quake activity right in this region per se. It's mainly off these fault lines. So we're seeing a new little spot of activity right there. Okay, that's about it. Just stop off at Hawaii really quick. All right, cool. Going back to this, let's go to our SO2 emissions. Okay, here's your country divided. We got SO2 emissions very strong on the eastern half. Got some very strong plumes up here that are being blown all the way into this. Okay, the storm is really like wrapped up a lot of this gas. You can see it all curled up in here, and it's pulling, emission sites gas way out here to the Pacific. Let's even take you to SO4, which is another sulfide, gets caught up in the storms, and you can see this storm has picked up a bunch of it. All right. Now this is SO4. It's a different sulfate. It has 4 oxygen atoms per molecule. All right, so not SO2, but 2 more oxygen atoms make it SO4. All right, this comes out of the ground and it's man-made as well. But the problem here is not the emission sites, it's the gas itself and where the concentrations, you see it all around. Okay, well, SO4 is a particulate, all right? Water adheres to particulates to make raindrops. Well, this particulate, SO4, instead of adhering to the particulate, the water actually bonds with the SO4. When you mix H2O with SO4, you get a new chemical compound called H2SO4, which is better known as sulfuric acid. And what you are looking at are the components for sulfuric acid all over the place. Okay? Now, it gets caught up in storms, doesn't it? See this SO2 or SO4, sorry, getting caught up in the storm right here, right? Okay. What's the storm comprised of? Water. You're going to see a sulfuric acid rain type storm lashing all of this area as well. Okay. This isn't your average storm. This is a, see what I'm saying? It's a sulfuric acid rain storm, and it's just going to pummel this region for a while. Until we get some kind of change up in temperature patterns out here, that thing is, just going to keep winding around for a while. All right, SO4, go look it up. SO4 plus H2O makes H2SO4, sulfuric acid. Another thing that they won't tell you on your news. That's why you're not supposed to really collect your rainwater and drink it. Wait, you skipped Lake Tahoe? Okay. I like Lake Tahoe. I was born and raised there. There it is right there. All right, so as you can see, this storm has picked up a bunch of SO4. It's going to bond with the water. We have all kinds of particulates. Another thing, let's just talk about really quick. Let's put it back on SO2. Okay, this is sulfur dioxide, sulfur quad oxide, I call that one, just for a layman's term. Now, I want you to think about all this region over here and all this SO2, all the particulates, all the volcanoes going off through here, get caught up in the weather patterns and get pulled into this. So we're going to have higher concentrations of water droplets because there's more SO2, more particulates. All right. And then we're going to, then it's also going to have an acidic pH to it as well. So different times. We're experiencing, different storms now. Back to the ocean one. Sorry, different show tonight. I'm not doing the traditional thing tonight. So now, look at eyes, nose, the mouth, tongue sticking out. Put on the wind. Whoa, even the waves are spiraling out of that point. But we come over to the wind. You can see it's curling around like ram's horns right there. And he's looking right at Washington. Washington, Oregon, and his tongue's pointing to Northern California. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Okay, so we covered all that. We did weather already. Oh, that's one other weather thing I wanted to show you here. Venture Sky, please. You know what? Let's play this little thingy. It's a Google card game. Tomorrow marks the final quarter of November's lunar cycle or half moon. Yeah, kind of like my moon, divided right down the middle of the page. Half moon or turning point in the lunar cycle. Okay, we don't have time for that. Sorry. We're here for a reason, and it was Venture Sky. You can come over, click on the thing, and read more about it. I don't got time for the games. All right. So here we are over at Venture Sky. You can see your storm out here swirling around. We're going to put it on radar first. Okay, you can see your moisture wrapping around here. I'm sure several weather reports you guys have seen that there's a little band of dry air in between the central part right here. Here's some dry air, and then here's your moisture band. This is your atmospheric river. Excuse me. I need to take a sip there. Okay, and you can see this jet of moisture just streaking in. Little break in data right here. Okay, this is still a continuous jet of moisture here. Let's back out a little bit. You see it there. Okay, and with that rotation just kind of parked there, maybe even moving up a little bit, it's just going to continue to draw stuff from this point up in northern. Okay, we also have this rotation around here that's feeding warmer, moist air into this cold thrust coming down. Okay, so we got cold air diving down, hitting warm, moist air that's recycling around the opposite direction, feeding right into this. This is the perfect setup for a lot of water for this area. Okay, and I don't know how to just everybody in this region prepare for major devastation, landslides, flooding, just off the wall, crazy weather or crazy side effects. They're already seeing so many trees that have been downed, and now we're going to go to wind speeds right here. Now this is 10 meters above the ground, which is 30 feet. Let's go up in elevation to 250 meters above the ground here. And you can see wind speeds up here, 61, 62, 63 miles an hour. All right, so this storm means business. It's not, 100-mile-an-hour winds, but it is causing a lot of winds to, come up through the land and knock down trees. There have been all kinds of trees. This is a little higher up. This is more where your storm is actually more the power of the storm is up this elevation here, but you can see your wind speeds up here, 70, 71 miles an hour. So this thing is a very powerful storm. It's got a lot of winds in it, and a lot of this area isn't used to seeing super high winds, and a lot of these older trees are snapping and falling and coming down and knocking out power and trapping people also in neighborhoods. Watch Marf, and you can see that he's having issues because he's trapped where he's at. And he showed you trees blocking the roads up there in Washington as well. Okay, so everything from basically this line northward is just going to be getting hammered with this thing over and over and over again. Let me take you one more time back to the tidbits just to show you current conditions one more time. Oh, never mind. They're updating it right now. So, well, maybe if we go back. Yeah, they're rebooting a new series of images right now, which is okay. We got this right now. So everybody in this region, be prepared for long duration, heavy amounts of water. We're talking beach erosion. I saw some models that were showing here. We need a better map. When this rotation backs out and moves this way, some of this storm is going to reverse and go this way and hit the foothills on the backside of these mountains here. These foothills are going to have weather possibly going this way at them, and they might get caught off guard with some snow on the foothill on the eastern face instead of the western face. Okay, because if this thing winds up and then pulls back a little bit, it'll suck air this way. So you might see reverse weather in this region right here. If this thing does indeed come back out a little bit, it could pull some of that weather in that direction. I've seen some models that were showing that. We'll have to watch closely to see if that happens. But everybody, I don't know why they didn't tell you on the news that this could possibly turn out like, the Hurricane Helene effect, where people are trapped in these river valley communities, in canyons and in little mountainous regions. Even though it doesn't look steep or anything, all those mountain faces, with ridge lines and stuff, they all gather water and funnel it to one spot. So you got to consider all the surface area up there is all area that's gathering water to funnel it to one spot. Your lower lands, expect flooding. Some river banks will probably jump their banks. That'll erode away the banks. You might have bridges washing out, cutting off communities, with trees falling down, cutting off communities, power outages, internet outages. The storm is not normal. This should be a wake-up call to everybody. The storm should be like, hey, what's going on here? This shouldn't be happening like this. And when they all want to know, well, why is it happening? Some of you will have a heads up ahead of everybody else. You'll know what's going on and why this is continuing. Whew. Okay, enough of that. Let's do a spiritual report. I wasn't even going to plan on doing one of those, so bear with me here. We're going to get this done. I know that's a lot of stuff, and it can be very stressful, but it's all part of the process. These are all signs that you're supposed to look for. So when you see these signs, this is all indications that the prophecies are coming true, okay? They can be, they can be disturbing, but when you know the rest of the story and how that fits in, then it's not so stressful, okay? Now, a lot of people will see this stuff and think, it's even more stressful, but that's why we do this part, okay? I keep bringing these ones up because these are the most important images right here, okay? This event actually took place, and these are real images. And when I pop one open and show you full screen, that's what it really looked like in the sky. Okay, that's more the scale of what it really looked like. It was hard to see. It's not until you compress these images, shrink them down, that they become clearer. And now you can see the crown, the face, the hair flowing back. This happened on Easter 2020. 2,000-year-old prophecy came true. Just like another 2,000-year-old prophecy, the Revelation 12 star alignment came true. Okay? All of these signs are coming to pass. They're coming true. They're were foretold thousands of years ago for a reason, so that when you see them coming to pass and becoming truth, then you'll understand what season we're in. Okay? Whew. Yeah. Oh, Lord. Here, I got something for you guys out there. I feel you. I know what you're going through. So let me just read a little ditty to you. Not that kind of ditty. Some words of encouragement here. Also, bring up this face by the moon. After the ad and all the good stuff. Hey, at least it's not political ads anymore. Did anybody notice that? We're not getting bombarded by political ads right now, thankfully. All right, so this event here that was captured a couple months back on, this was on Leap Day. All right, individual captured this big old face out by the moon. Okay, it's a real event. It's a real face. I know because I recognize my own face. And with all the paranormal activity that's been happening to me lately, it's no surprise that this is happening too. Whew. Yes, Lake Tahoe is really that small on the global scale. And there's William Taft. Welcome. Morning, William. Welcome. You're just in time for the reading. All right, so very important to understand that's my face. This is my face again. Here we got all other kinds of images that it's not like, hey, look at me, this is my face. No, it's different. When you seek my face, you will find other things that go along with it. And where are we going? Oh, yeah, that's right. Right there. So we had another incident where these faces in the clouds keep showing up all around me, following me everywhere I go. This time, I recognize my face starting to show up here in the clouds. Almost looks like Homer Simpson here at the lip, huh? Anyways, my face showing up in the clouds, and then after I take a picture, I look up here, there's kind of this little crown going on up in here. Then I look back here, and it's all being projected from Jesus's heart. You can see, here's his head. He's wearing sunglasses. Don't ask me why, but he's pulling open his shirt, his heart, exposing his heart. His heart's radiating out, making these faces in the clouds. Okay. real activity really going on. It's because when you see these things to come to pass, look up. And nobody's looking up. They're all looking down at their cell phones. And not everybody, but most people are. Some of my audience is actually taking real photos, and I've showed them here on this channel before. Some of you are capturing your own spiritual realm cloud activity. Okay. And when you capture your own, then you'll know that this is no joke. Okay. And you will be caught up in the clouds. You won't be able to take your eyes off the sky. It'll be so captivating and so intriguing that it'll be hard for you to drive down the road. You'll be looking up at every cloud going, oh my God, there's a face there. Oh my God. It will captivate you. You will get caught up in the clouds with me. And then I seen Love Always here. Welcome, Love Always. I'm glad you made it. Okay. All right. So we're going to start right about here with these images and get into this. Oh, you used to live in Incline Village? Oh, dang. I'm surprised I didn't bump into you. I spent 40 some odd years at South Tahoe. Okay, so all kinds of craziness going on right now, especially with what our president's doing. You guys know what I'm talking about. I hear you guys stressing about it. And it seems like things are going wrong, right? It's like everything we got, the guy we voted for, things are looking, looking up. But all of a sudden, things seem to be going wrong, too. So, when many things seem to be going wrong, trust me. When your life feels increasingly out of control, thank me. Now, it sounds crazy, but these are supernatural responses. And they can lift you above your circumstances. Do you want to be lifted above your circumstances? Yes or no? Well, when you feel like life's increasingly out of control, try thanking me. That supernatural response is what lifts you out of your circumstances. Now, if you do what comes naturally in the face of difficulties, you may fall prey to negativity. Even a few complaints can set you on a path that is a downward spiral. Just a few complaints. That's what gets you. That's what catches you all the time. And it catches me too. I will find myself complaining about something silly and get caught in that downward spiral. That's when I got to stop. Whoa, getting sucked in. Lord, I'm doing it again. Help me. I'm doing it again. So even a few little complaints can set you on a path that's a downward spiral by darkening your perspective and your mindset. So when this attitude controlling you, complaints flow more and more readily from your mouth. And each one moves you steadily down this slippery spiral. The lower you go, the faster you slide. But it is still possible to apply the brakes. That's where I was talking about. Catch yourself doing it. Apply the brakes. Cry out to me in my name. Affirm your trust in me. And regardless of how you feel, thank me for everything anyway. Though this seems unnatural and even irrational, gradually you will begin to ascend, recovering your lost ground. Okay? It sounds simple, but it's hard to do. The lower you go, the faster you slide, but it is possible to apply the brakes. Cry out. Affirm your trust. One of my favorites came right out of AA, and I use it a lot because it works so darn well. God, grant me the serenity to accept the conditions I cannot control, the people I cannot change. Whatever you need to attach it, it's the God grant me serenity. What are you looking for? You're looking for serenity. So, God grant me the serenity to accept the things, people, places, and things that I cannot control. When you do that and you thank me that things are out of control, all of a sudden your negativity depletes. It goes away. You're overcoming your circumstances. It's a supernatural response and it can lift you above your circumstances. Boy, no, we'll give that one to a different, that goes totally different lecture. How did I get in there? Okay. Sorry. All right. So I got here this too. So everybody's dependent on your circumstances, right? Everything, your circumstances kind of dictate your mood, your modus operandi, how you're going to go about things, how you look at things. So, your circumstances don't have to dictate your joy, okay? You need to remember that joy is not dependent on your circumstances. Now, some of the world's most miserable people are those whose circumstances seemed most enviable. Some of the most miserable people are the ones that are the most enviable. Hollywood. People who reach the top of the ladder career-wise are often surprised to find emptiness awaiting them. True joy is a byproduct of living in my presence. Kind of like you guys are doing at this very moment. You are caught up with me in the clouds. You are living in my presence, and you're experiencing true joy, which is a byproduct of living in my presence. This is true joy, knowing that you're going to be okay, using these tools to overcome your circumstances in your day will bring you true joy. It's just a byproduct of living that way. Okay. You can experience this true joy in places that you would never imagine. You can, like, for example, prisons. You can experience true joy in a prison when you have overcome the circumstances there. You can find it from palaces to prisons to anywhere in your car, out on the trail, anywhere. You can experience the joy being in my presence anywhere, from palaces to prisons, anywhere, even on the battlefield. Some soldiers experience my presence on the battlefield and find joy and that overcomes those circumstances that they're in. It's the only way they can manage. Okay, so do not judge a day as devoid of joy just because it contains difficulties. All right, that's one a lot of people get caught up in. A lot of the world is just devoid of joy because each day has some difficulties. But instead, concentrate on staying in communication with me. Many of the problems that clamor for your attention will resolve themselves. Other matters you must deal with, but I will help you with them. If you make problem solving secondary to the goal of living close to me, you can find joy even in your most difficult days. Okay, let me say this again. It sounds maybe a little too fast. If you make problem solving secondary to the goal of living close to me, if your first goal is living close to me and then secondary is problem solving, then you can find joy in even your most difficult days. But if you put them in reverse, if you make problem solving more important than living close to me, then you won't have the joy in your difficulties. It's only when you make problem solving secondary to the goal of living close to me is where you can find joy in your most difficult days. Some of you are just eating it up and doing so well. And I am just so thankful that you gave it a shot and you gave it a try, and you are actually finding that joy that is dependent of your circumstances. Even with the news of the day. What else do I got for you? Hang on, let me take a sip here. Look at this one. You guys need to look at that one for a minute. Do you see that heart right there? When they talk about the Holy of Holies, it's not some back room in a church, okay, where the high priest is only allowed to pray and talk to God. No, that is not the Holy of Holies. The Holy of Holies is right there in front of you, right there. The heart of Jesus, a real thing, okay? You can see it has command and control of everything in the air, okay? Every cloud, everything in the universe comes from that spot right there. You need to wrap your head around that, what you're looking at. Okay, this isn't fake. This isn't computer generated. This isn't like AI or anything. These are old photos. I don't have that kind of technology. I'm an old fart on a really low budget. I can't do that kind of stuff. That's real clouds that you're looking at. You need to embrace that. When somebody says, oh, this is pareidolia, you better pray to God this isn't pareidolia. You better pray to God that I'm showing you the real truthful thing, that you are not imagining faces in the clouds with crowns on them on Easter. You better be thankful this isn't pareidolia, that I didn't just cave and go, oh, everybody's going to think it's pareidolia. I'm just going to give up. No. Regardless of how it makes me look or whatever, I still do it for you because I love you. And, you're here at this channel for a reason, because you like what you see, you like what you hear, you subscribed, you watch, you like, you follow. So you follow. Like you follow somebody on Facebook, you follow me on YouTube. So if you follow me on YouTube, be willing to follow wherever I lead. Follow me wholeheartedly with glad anticipation, quickening your pace. I want you to have glad anticipation that quickens your pace. And though you don't know what lies ahead, I know, and that is enough. Even though you don't know, I do, and that's enough, okay? Leave it at that. Let everything go. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to know what lies ahead. I do. I'm showing you images of what lies ahead. You have victory lying ahead for you. So, even though you don't know what lies ahead, I do, and that's enough. And some of my richest blessings are just around the bend, out of sight, kind of like just around the bend here. See the bend in the road going up the mountain, kind of out of sight, almost out of sight. Okay. So, some of my richest blessings that you're looking at are just around the bend. They are out of sight, but nonetheless very real. To receive these gifts, you must walk by faith, not by sight. Before you saw this, you wouldn't see this image if you didn't have faith. You would just see a bunch of clouds. You would go, nope, don't see it. You're tripping, Brian. But it's with your faith that you have eyes to see these images When it says not by sight, it means not the physical world and the news and the paradigm of the world that's been indoctrinated into you. Okay, if you're indoctrinated by the world, you cannot receive these gifts. But if you walk by faith and you have your belief in Jesus, then you can see these. To receive these gifts, you walk by faith, not by what the world tells you, not by sight. Yet you can still see these, okay? Because you're supposed to see me coming in the clouds, right? That's by sight. So when it says walk by faith, not by sight, that means walk in the faith of Jesus, not by what you were taught in this world. You can still see things with your eyes because I told you to look up. You will see me in the clouds coming with power and great glory. All right, so receive these gifts. Walk in faith, not by sight. And this doesn't mean closing your eyes to what's all around you. It means subordinating the visible world to the invisible shepherd of your soul. The now visible shepherd of your soul. Now, sometimes I lead you up high mountains with only my hand to support you. The higher you climb, the more spectacular the view becomes. Also, the more keenly you sense your separation from the world with all of its problems. The more keenly you sense your separation from the world with all of its problems. The more you trust in me, the higher we climb, the more you lean on this foundation, the higher you climb, the more spectacular the view becomes. It's a pretty spectacular view from where you're at, isn't it? Huh? And then a pretty spectacular view right there. Hey, here's another spectacular view right here. You wouldn't be able to see these if you didn't have faith. You would just think, it's just the clouds. It's just the way the light bounced refracted off of Venus, right? The higher you climb, the more spectacular the view becomes. The more keenly you sense your separation from the world with all of its problems. This is what frees you. This frees you to experience exuberantly the joyous reality of my presence. This frees you to experience the reality of my presence right here, right now, with you. You are free to experience the joyous reality of my presence. Not many people do get that joyous reality. Give yourself fully to these glorious moments, awash in dazzling light, and I will eventually lead you down the mountain back into the community with others. Let my light continue to shine within you as you walk among people again. Okay, so after this show, when it's all over, you go back to your day, whether you're going to bed or facing a new day. Let my light continue to shine within you as you walk among people again. Okay, we got this problem with leaders around the world, right? These so-called leaders. Well, what I was taught was a leader is only a leader if people follow him, right? So if you're following somebody, they're a leader by default. You don't go out there and proclaim, hey, I'm a leader. Look at me. I got all this right and all this. Follow me. No. A real leader is just a normal guy who does what he does, and other people like what he does and they follow him. That's a real leader. It's not somebody who says, hey, I have the most money and I am willing to be the most corrupt. Make me your leader. No, 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 no. We got some serious psychotic individuals that are running this world. They call themselves leaders, and we're in desperate need for prayer for them. Don't you think? Don't you think some of these people could use a little bit of this knowledge? One world leader sees this and whoops, swallows hard and whispers to another world leader, and then all of a sudden they start to rumor goes around that somebody's in town and he's making a list and checking it twice and gonna find out who's naughty and nice. You think maybe that would help them in their decision making? I do. You need to pray for your leaders right now. Okay, I know it's hard. They seem like they're the enemy and they're the problem. That's why they need the prayer the most. So a lot of this stuff is counter culture or against the grain of what you thought. You're supposed to thank Jesus for adversity. You thank for the difficulties. That way, it's not so difficult. This is all for your mental stability. This world, we have a bad case of mental illness across this whole world. We have a mass psychosis induced by mainstream media and the schooling, right? So we have to kind of undo that mass psychosis and get people back to thinking normally and rationally. So you got to pray for your leaders. They're under a lot of stress right now. Everybody's ego is, being checked, and a lot of these big egos don't like to have their ego checked, and once you leave your ego at the door, you can find the freedom and the spirituality that you need to keep you happy. Just think of this word ego. The letters EGO stand for edging God out. It's me, 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 me. It's the selfishness. We got to get rid of selfishness and be selfless, ready to help others, doing unto them what you would have done unto you. When you live this way, you have the peace inside you that overcomes your circumstances. And when that peace gets disrupted, you simply take a break, take a few deep breaths. God, grant me the serenity to accept that these people are going to drive on a sheet of ice while texting. Okay. Just because a storm comes in and there's trees going across the road does not mean people are not going to still text and drive. So I have to work on that myself. Lord, grant me the serenity to accept that people are still going to text and drive with a tree across the road. Okay. And it's insanity, but you thank them and you just keep working on it. Each day is a new trial. Each day is a new chance. Each day is going to have its challenges. So that's why we try to salvage each day. When you feel like you're getting down that slippery slope of negativity, you're starting to complain and you're starting to scream at traffic. Oh, catch yourself. Oh, I'm doing it again, Lord. God, grant me the serenity to help me, or whatever you need to say. Your favorite prayer that has that works for you. Okay, because some of you have different ways of praying. That's an AA prayer. Okay, so it comes out of a different thing, but it's still asking, you're still praying, you're still asking God for serenity, which is part of his will. When you're praying for part of his will, he's happy to grant that. Anything else, Lord? I think that might be it for tonight. I wasn't even planning on doing the show. I was trying to do my stretching so I can get some rest tonight, but I got a cramp and I can't stretch. But right there, that's what my face looks like right now with the book light shining on it. I would show you, but I'm getting ready for bed. So you can just look at that right there in the meantime. But that is indeed me watching over you, okay? Because I love you and I miss you guys, okay? I can't just come over to your house right now and give you a big old hug. I would love to. You would trip out if you saw me in person walk up to your door and you heard my voice. I knocked on your door, you opened up your door, and I'm standing there and I go, "Hi, Marcia." And I reached out my arms and gave you a hug. I would love to do that right now, but I can't. I'm stuck in my house. All right. We got this nasty storm and I'm going to be snowbound for a while. But since I can't come over to your house right now, we can meet in the air of cyberspace live on YouTube. Okay. Where you can come over and get caught up with me in the clouds, take you away from all your problems and your circumstances for a while so you can have peace that transcends those circumstances. So you will have courage to face the endeavor that's going on in front of you. So, boy, just everything comes with this. I can't even list all the benefits, all the blessings that come with just believing and practicing. Okay. Endurance, perseverance, patience, and tolerance. Once you getting those tools down in your tool belt, you'll be able to handle situations and other people's problems with ease and a lot better than you would without the tools. Let's just say it that way. It might still be bumpy, but you'll be able to handle it a lot better with these tools. All right. Other people without this are not going to handle it too well. But you have a good foothold. You have a real foundation. This isn't a fake foundation. This is a real foundation. See my hand? I'm flesh and blood, okay? Kind of shy and ugly in my pajamas right now, or I'd turn the camera around and scare the shit out of all of you. But that is my face in the clouds coming with power and great glory because of who I am, okay? If you see me here in the clouds coming with power and great glory, and you are caught up, like not hypnotized, but you're fascinated, you're intrigued, you're taken away from your circumstances, you're caught up in the moment like a good song, like a good book, you're caught up with me in the clouds, where I went ahead and made a place that where I am, you may be also live in the air of YouTube's cyberspace. Okay. That's how I meet my family in the air of cyberspace, where I went and provided this channel where I am, you may be also, and you can get caught up in the clouds with me, and we can find that peace that transcends your circumstances. Right? Good job, you guys. Thanks for bearing with me. I'm not in the best shape tonight. I was not planning on doing this, but the Lord shook me out of bed and says, "Your audience wants you, Brian. Get out there." So here we are. And if you ever feel like you're being watched, well, you are. But guess what? They're being watched too by me. So the watchers are being watched too. All right. So maybe that will console you a little bit too as well, knowing that the bad guys who think that they're going to get away with all this will soon be hiding from this giant face. They'll be like, "Hide us from the one who sits on the throne." Giant face in the sky. Okay, but when you see this, you'll go, "Hey, I know that guy." You'll have nothing to fear. Everybody else is going to be in for quite a rude awakening. Something else I wanted to talk about really quick, because I'm looking up at the viewers and the likes, and there's 11 viewers and 11 likes, and it reminded me of something here I need to kind of talk about really quick. So when people tell you that 1 + 1 is 2, right? Okay, there's another way. What if I told you 1 + 1 is not 2, that 1 + 1 is 11? If you have a 1 and you add another 1 right next to it, it's 11. So That's kind of how things work in the Bible. When it's explaining something that 1 plus 1 is 2, everybody's taking it, or when it says 1 plus 1, everybody's taking it as 1 plus 1 is 2. Maybe it's 1 with another 1 standing next to it. And if you have a 1 and a 1, which is 11, and you have another 11 standing next to it, you have 11, 11, which is 4 individual ones, right? You got 4 individual ones standing in a row, creating the number 11, 11. 11, 11 is 4 individuals in one. You guys, some of you people out there see 1111 on your clock a lot, huh? And you're wondering what that's all about. 1111 is 4 individual ones all in one number. It's a 4 in 1. You understand how that works? So 4 ones could be, 1 plus 1 plus 1 could be the number 4. But 4 ones can also be the number 1111. And 4 individuals would be the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, and you. So when you see 1111, let that remind you of the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, and you. You are the 4th one in that number sequence. When you start to see things from that perspective, you will unlock much more in life. Okay, don't just go with the mainstream 1 plus 1 is 2, because it could also mean something else. And that's where a lot of people got pulled astray. When it says you'll be caught up in the clouds, caught up doesn't mean turning into a white dot and disappearing where everybody looks up. No. The word rapture isn't in the Bible. It says when you see these things come to pass, look up and look into the clouds. You'll see me in the clouds coming with power and great glory. That's how it works. It's not 1 plus 1 equals 2. It's 1 plus another 1 plus another 1 plus another 1. This would be, a 1, a 1, a 1. This would be 6 ones right there instead of the number 6. There's different ways of looking at things. And when you use an open mind and have a different perspective, you see things differently and they make more sense when you see from my perspective. That's it for tonight. I love you guys. I miss you guys. I got to go hunker down for this storm and do some stretching. Hopefully I can get a little bit of rest here. These storms, man, painful on my body. So everybody hang in there. All right. Do the best you can. It's progress, not perfection. When you're having a moment, bring Jesus into it. Pray, regain your composure. Don't go down that slippery slope of negativity. You find your foot stuck in it, pull it out, take a moment, regain composure, and salvage your day. If you don't, you're just going to be miserable. So it's work. You have to work at it. You have to work at salvaging your day. But once you do, you have a victory and you feel better inside knowing that you can overcome stuff. It's not so scary anymore because you've got practice overcoming it already. That's what this training is about, is getting you well versed and well practiced at trusting and overcoming your obstacles, salvaging each day, and bringing that light through you into other people's lives, teaching them how to salvage their days as well. Most of you are all gung-ho now and you're full bore going at it. And I am so thankful for at least you guys trying and finding that miracle. It doesn't happen right away. You got to keep working at it. But all of a sudden, you're going to have this Holy Spirit inside you, knowing that you are accomplishing things that are just beyond what you would expect. And every time you overcome an adversity, it might be painful, but I know what to do with it. I make a little collage of you overcoming here, and then you overcame this obstacle, and then you overcame that obstacle, and I make these little collages of all of you, all of your successes. Okay. And that way I can show you later on where you succeeded. Okay. I love you guys. I miss you guys. Until my next show, I will be back. I am already back. Look up. Look up in the clouds. I'm already back. These are old pictures. It's been going on for a long time. And everybody's still looking down at their cell phone. They've been missing out for 7 years. This stuff has been going on. The quote rapture or being caught up in the clouds has been happening for 7 years. That's why no man knows the day or the hour, because it's not a day, it's not an hour, it's been 7 long years plus. And it's still going on. This activity is even going on more so in your clouds. So lift up your heads, look up into your clouds. When you see this stuff happening in front of you, you're going to be a little shocked. It'll really solidify that, oh, this truly is happening. When you capture your own stuff or you see an event like this happening in your own clouds, then it will really solidify. And you might be a little scared to go outside at first. So I suggest praying before you go out in it. When you leave your house, you're going out in it. So say a prayer before you go out in it. A little hedge of protection will keep you safe while you're out in it. Okay? That's it for tonight. I gotta go. I love you all. I miss you all. Guys, keep your head up and stay prepared. We got this storm. Okay? So just stay strong. Perseverance, patience, and endurance. Okay? Keep going. You guys are doing great. That's it for tonight. I love you all. I miss you all. Gonna go, but I will be back. I'm a man of my word. I will be back. In fact, I am already back. Can't you tell? And I'm still to come. Bye.